How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kuang. In a world where the end of a love story often feels like an irreversible tragedy, Yulin Kuang's 星号 How to End a Love Story 星号 turns that notion on its head. This novel isn't just about love, heartbreak, or moving on. It's about finding yourself, uncovering the strengths you didn't know you had, and embracing the messiness that life throws your way. The book's premise is simple, yet profoundly complex, dealing with the notion of love stories and how they are more than just a collection of passionate moments. They are about the endings that shape us, the realizations that come after the storm, and how we grow from the experiences that both break and build us. It's a refreshing, brutally honest exploration of what it really means to end something that once meant everything, and how to rebuild afterward. At the heart of the story is Maddie, a talented yet deeply flawed young woman trying to find her place in the world of love, career, and self-identity. Maddie's life is a mess, but it's a mess that feels eerily familiar. She's in love with someone who doesn't seem to reciprocate the way she needs, and she's tangled in an emotional web that she can't seem to escape. She's unsure about her future, her job, and her relationship, but one thing is clear: she needs a change. Her story begins with a seemingly unremarkable moment. She's at a crossroads, but she doesn't quite know where to go. It's at this point that Maddie decides to do something drastic to end her relationship with her boyfriend, Julian. What seems like an easy decision in theory becomes the catalyst for a journey of self-discovery, pain, and ultimately, freedom. Maddie's breakup with Julian isn't just about the romance ending, it's about what comes after. It's about picking up the pieces of a life she thought she understood, but suddenly realizes is not as stable as she once thought. The reader is taken deep into Maddie's psyche as she navigates the highs and lows of breaking free from a relationship that's both toxic and a source of comfort. The dynamics between her and Julian are far from simple. They've known each other for years, and their history is entangled with shared memories and moments of love. But the problem lies in the fact that Maddie is stuck in a loop, a cycle of unspoken emotions and unresolved issues. Julian is not the man she thought he was, and as Maddie starts to reflect on their past, she begins to see things she had once ignored: his lack of commitment, his inability to communicate, and his indifference to her dreams. The decision to end things, while difficult, feels almost inevitable. What's most striking about 星号 How to End a Love Story 星号 is how it paints the act of ending a relationship, not as a one-time dramatic event, but as a process, a series of moments, realizations, and transformations that happen long before the final breakup. The book dives deep into the complexity of relationships, showing that they are often a tangled mess of emotions, compromises, and missed opportunities. It's not just about falling in love, but also about the ways in which we allow love to shape our sense of self. Maddie is forced to ask herself tough questions about her worth, her needs, and what she's willing to accept from the people she loves. It's easy to fall into patterns, to accept things as they are out of fear of being alone, but through this journey, Maddie slowly learns that breaking free from those patterns is the only way to grow. As Maddie tries to rebuild her life after the breakup, she starts to reconnect with the parts of herself she had neglected for so long. She throws herself into her career, but her path is anything but smooth. The world of work is just as complicated as her personal life, and she faces challenges and moments of doubt that test her resolve. But the process of rebuilding, of starting fresh and learning from her mistakes, becomes a beautiful part of her journey. Kuang's writing shines here, as she captures the rawness of Maddie's emotions, her sense of fear, confusion, anger, and ultimately, her resilience. This isn't just a love story about a woman finding the right partner, it's about a woman finding the right version of herself. Through the mess and chaos, Maddie begins to understand that endings are not the final chapter, they are simply transitions to new beginnings. One of the book's most poignant themes is the idea of closure. Maddie's story isn't about seeking closure from Julian, but about finding closure within herself. The relationships we hold onto, whether they're with lovers, family, or friends, are often complicated by our desire to resolve things, to make everything neat and tidy. But life doesn't always offer that kind of closure. Sometimes, closure has to come from within. Maddie's journey is as much about letting go of Julian as it is about letting go of her past self, the person she used to be before the relationship and before the heartbreak. This internal journey is perhaps the most challenging, but it's also the one that holds the most promise for growth. As the book progresses, readers see Maddie evolve into someone more confident, more self-aware, and ultimately, more capable of creating the life she wants for herself. The romantic subplot remains important, but it's not the focal point. The true story is about Maddie's realization that the love story that matters most is the one she has with herself. In the end, Xinghao How to End a Love Story Xinghao reminds us that endings are never final, they are simply opportunities for new beginnings. The person Maddie was before the breakup is no longer the same person by the end of the novel. She's stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace whatever comes next. Through the chaos of love, loss, and self-discovery, Maddie learns that while love stories might end, life itself is full of new chapters waiting to be written. Yulin Kuang's novel isn't just for those who are experiencing heartbreak, it's for anyone who has ever struggled with finding themselves amidst the turbulence of life. It's a story of resilience, self-love, and the quiet strength that comes from embracing who you are, regardless of where you've been or what's happened to you. In Xinghao How to End a Love Story Xinghao, endings are not the conclusion of a story, they are the necessary starting point for something even better.